Brian, do you want to? Okay, Brian started recording. We're just going to keep this short, about 30 minutes, to go over some sales copy strategies and Q&A with Mark. We are the I Am Rebels. I'm Shane Farrell. Brian Gray up top there in the pink shirt, calling in from Cambodia. Right, Brian?
It's actually a red shirt, but my webcam is off. I don't like pink.
And then we have Brian is our resident expert in analytics and paid traffic. And then we have Mark Tandan from Ottawa, Canada, who is our sales copy guru and the one who does all of our sales copy, and then also does a lot of 6- and 7-figure marketers, especially in the internet marketing space. So chances are, if you bought a product in the last year, Mark Tandan had a role in that. So thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Happy to be here, fellas.
And if you guys want to scroll up, we put the link in Google Docs and also a Dropbox so you can download. That is our sales page copy questionnaire that every time Mark has a new client, that goes out to them. So make sure you grab a copy of that. We're going to be referring back to it in the blab. And also, if you have any questions at any time, please ask them in the chat box. We'll get to it right away. We're not going to do a thing where we have to wait to the end or anything like that. We got a bunch of questions emailed in, so thanks for that. And we'll be putting the recording up both on our YouTube channel and then on our blog at the I Am Rebels. And Brian will put the link there for that. But Mark, let me go through some of the questions that we got in so people can benefit from it.
Yeah, sure.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and the type of clients that you work with, so we have a little background.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, I work a lot with people launching digital information products, softwares. A lot of time that's in the make money online arena, or tools to help people out with things like SEO, video creation, that sort of stuff when it gets to software. And whenever you have a product that you're releasing in the digital space, you have to have a way to sort of convince people that that's for them or it isn't for them, and that's where sales copy comes in. It's basically an online ad. You know, it's a story that you're telling. So that's what I do.
And how much do you think sales copy actually plays a role in selling a product? I mean, can a good product be affected by bad sales copy? And at the same side, can a bad product be affected by good sales copy?
Yeah, it's pretty huge. It's bigger than I originally thought before I jumped into this. Like, you can take the best product in the world, but if it's a lousy sales page, it'll never sell. I mean, think about your own experiences. Like, let's say you go out to buy a car and you've got your heart set on this perfect car, this perfect model, and the salesperson's a total joke, right? And it'll turn you off faster than anything, just the selling process alone, and you'll just drop it. And the same can be said for, I mean, even a marginal product can be made to look better with a good ad. Yeah,
but we don't want, I mean, everybody hates being sold, right?
Absolutely.
They don't want to feel like they got one over on them. So, I mean, when you work with, are there ever products you turn down because you don't think they're good enough, or, you know, you don't want to put lipstick on a pig and, you know, and hurt your buyers?
No, that hurts everybody, right? So yeah, absolutely. I'll be tactful when I decline a contract, and I'll suggest somebody else. I'll just say perhaps that's not a fit for my style. What I'm basically saying is my style is I want to write for what I believe is quality product.
Yeah, I mean, also, if you're a product creator and you have bad products, you're not going to build a list that's going to, you know, keep paying you with your email marketing too. So you have to have a combination if you want to build a business. We've all seen people that have a bad product but really good copy, and then their list doesn't produce any sales moving forward because the product was so bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one big circle, right? If you're putting out quality, your product deserves good copy, because that way if you really firmly believe in your product or your service, it's on you to get that in front of as many people as it'll help as possible. And that's all good copywriting does, is it just helps get that message across to as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Good. Related to one of the questions here, you know, what elements make good copy? You talk about good copy, but what does that actually mean?
I mean, first and foremost, clarity. You know, like right up front telling people what they're in for, okay? Like, what is this product or service? What does it do, and who's it for? And a lot of times copy sort of skirts around that. It's what we call blind copy. It's like it's one size fits all. Yes, this will help anybody ever in the history of mankind, which isn't really effective. You want to basically qualify people right at the beginning. You don't want to waste anybody's time. Okay, so when somebody gets to a sales page, maybe they got it from an email or they got it through an ad or whatever, you want to tell them with very short attention spans and busy lives, you want to tell people right away what this is all about, and then they can make a very quick decision as to whether it's something they need to find out more. So definitely clarity is the first point.
Yeah, blind sales copy seems to be something that was, especially in the internet marketing or make money online niche, was really popular years ago. But it doesn't really lead to customers that are going to continue to buy from you, right?
In certain niches, I still see it happening. I still see people getting away with it. Well, I shouldn't say getting away with it. It can actually work. Like what ends up happening with blind copy is it actually tends to convert a little better, but refund rates tend to go through the roof, and customer satisfaction therefore drops. So, I mean, I just like to be clear. That's a personal style. That's a style of some of my mentors. We like to be clear. We like to teach something in our copy. That's another element, I think, is if somebody spent the time to visit a page, they should come away with something. Whether they buy something or not, they're going to learn something. If the product's on SEO, they're going to learn a tip or two about SEO they didn't know going in. And then the rest just basically becomes, you know, different techniques and different ways of, which we'll get into, I'm sure, of leading people to decide whether or not it's a good idea to buy or not.
Yeah. I think you make a few good points there. I mean, what if, with beginners especially, because sales copy is really a skill, right? You're not going to be good at it the first time you go out. It's something that you can always improve on. You know, but what are some of the big mistakes that you see beginners or first-time product creators making with their sales copy?
It's a great question. I think that one of the biggest one I would say is it hints at what I talked about earlier with clarity, is a lot of people, first time or product creators, for example, they like to think that their product will work for everybody in any niche, and anybody who's ever interested in possibly improving their life or making some money will benefit from their product. So they go out with this catch-all copywriting philosophy, which is buy my stuff because it's amazing and it's the best thing since sliced bread and you got to have it. And that tends to knock more people out of the equation. They think that what people think they're doing is drawing more people in. What it ends up doing is actually losing the interest of the targeted audience that you really want to lead through your sales page.
Yeah, we just actually we put up a blog post and video today on how to find your target audience. So we'll put a link there. I mean, looking back at your sales copy questionnaire, let's open that up, Mark, and take a walk through people with that. On the sales page copy questionnaire, so this will help people find their audience and who they want to sell to, or what is the main purpose of this?
Yeah, the main purpose is to make sure that the client, you know, whoever, or let's say you're writing your own copy, this is still a great tool. This just makes sure that you really understand, like in a nutshell, what your product's about and who it's for. Okay. It gets into more detail, but at the end of the day, I ask people to tell me this. I say, sum up your product to me in one sentence, but the catch is, tell it to me like I'm a good buddy that has no idea what you're selling. Like everybody, if you really know your product inside and out, you should be able to sum it up in a sentence that's clear. You should be able to tell your mom about it, your brother about it, who have no idea what niche you're into. If you can get it down into those simple terms, then I have the confidence that you know what you've got, you know, on offer, and then we can move forward. Yeah,
the mom test is always a good way to go if your mom can understand what you're doing online. Okay. Yeah. Can you take us through the questionnaire, Mark? Some of these questions that you think are most important that people answer when they're writing their own sales copy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it on my screen right now, but I pretty much know it verbatim. So, I mean, if I'm missing something, just point it out.
Sure.
One of the keys is what we talk about a lot in copy is the USP, or your unique selling proposition. And this forces you to analyze what else is on the market and what alternatives your prospects may have tried or could consider trying, and what makes your product or service unique and hopefully better. than those things. You know, you really want to drill that down. You want to find out, you want to be able to tell people, hey, yeah, there's a lot of products on Facebook marketing. You know, I use that example a lot, but this one takes into account, you know, some of the latest updates in Facebook, some of the, you know, things that you'll never get slapped with their updates, and that's why this is the one you want to have. So there's definitely defining your unique selling proposition. I also ask a lot about who they think their target market is, because that gets back to that original point of, let's face it, not every product is for every person. So we really want to decide who our target market is. And then that helps me or a copywriter come up with possible alternative markets for them.
And I see there's a lot of questions on what are the benefits of, but you know, I've always done sales copy from the perspective of what are the pain points this is going to solve? Do you pull the pain points from the opposite of the benefits, or do you not focus on pain points and just like to focus on benefits?
I focus on pain in a big way, but whereas a benefit is something that in sales copy you'll often see it listed like a product feature. You'll see, you know how you see those bullet points in a lot of those sales pages.
Yeah.
Those will be benefit, benefit, benefit. I'll use the pain and the emotional triggers kind of more in the story and the backstory, and I just kind of weave it through the copy, because you nailed on a huge point there. Is any sort of pain or emotion is actually the biggest buying trigger for most people. Okay, all the benefits and all the features in the world are one thing, but getting back to our car example, if you're upgrading to a nice, whatever, your dream car, you're getting in it because it makes you feel good. It's not because it gets you from A to B. Any car can do that, you know, but you're doing it because this makes you feel really powerful, really special, something like that. That's where we bring in the pain and the emotional triggers is throughout the copy.
And can those pain and emotional triggers overcome price objections or trust objections?
I would say price every single time. Trust, no, I think you have to build some trust into your copy. And that's the other flip side. So we talk about the emotional triggers and the pain points. The trust, I believe, is built in with some authority. Okay, so you sort of subtly introduce that in the copy as well. Like, what's your background? You know, you're the product vendor. Why are you teaching me about Facebook marketing? So that's where you see these things like testimonials. You know, you'll see screenshots, not necessarily income proof, but you know, you'll see, look how we got 200 new leads from Facebook in a day and a half with this exact method.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I agree. That was one of the questions we got in. You know, how much of a role do testimonials actually play in conversions? If you have a sales page with testimonials and a sales page without, I mean, is it obvious that the one with testimonials will convert better? Does that help with trust, or does that help people relate to other buyers?
It's massive. I mean, there's a reason you see testimonials. Like, look at Amazon. Okay, the products that get sold are, you know, the ones with the reviews. Okay, people read the good reviews, they read the bad reviews. Amazon's not dumb. They know it works. It works on sales copy too. There's a recent stat that over 60% of online buyers, like of any product, physical or digital, are led to a buying decision based on reading other reviews. So those testimonials, that feedback, those reviews, when I can use those on a sales page, when they're current, when they're fitting to the actual product, they make a massive difference.
Yeah, you know, so just to bring up that point of testimonials, because a lot of beginners don't know where to get testimonials, especially if you don't have a list yet. Like, we have a list, so every time we have a new product coming out, we can email out our list or post in our Facebook groups. You know, we're giving away review copies, you know, for people to see what it is, for people to test out and get back reviews. But any ideas for what a beginner can do who has no list to get testimonials?
Well, yeah, it's you know, it's actually not that tricky. If you are in the product launch space in the digital game, there's a lot of Facebook groups that a lot of these beginners are already part of. They're sort of product launching communities. And what we see happen a lot is people say, hey, I'm coming out with my first product. I'm looking for some objective reviews. If anybody would be willing to review, get in touch with me. I'll send you over a copy.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're not, we focus in, you know, obviously internet marketing and make money on online niche, but if you're going into health, there's forums that you can go into. There's forums for every single thing. So that's where, you know, a lot of us started out in make money online forums. So there's forums for diet where you can post up and give away review copies. You can look for people who are active posters. You can even go to people who have niche blogs just by searching your keyword in Google and giving out review copies. Say, hey, I have a product coming out on the paleo diet for men. I see you have a blog on this. Can I send you a copy and get your review back? You'll find that a lot of beginners are scared to do that in the beginning, but you'll find that you really won't run into that much of objections, and you'll find people that are willing to help with you and people that are willing to, network and affiliate with you and even promote your product when you get out there and ask for those testimonials and reviews.
That right there, that last one, Shane, is an amazing point. Is a testimonial is as powerful as the person who put it together. So if you can get somebody that's in your niche that people in that market maybe will recognize or they've heard of their work, if you can get a testimonial from them, it's so much more powerful than just the generic. And like you said, it might be intimidating, but it's really not that hard. Find somebody working in the same niche as you that you've heard of, that you found on the forums, etc. Go buy one of their products, buy like an entry-level digital product from them, a guide on whatever, and then contact them, reach out through their blog, through their social media information, and tell them how much you appreciated the content you got. I mean, I think we did a blog post on this a while back, but this is how to get testimonials. Is you get in touch with them, you flatter them a little bit, you say, hey, that was really beneficial, thanks so much. By the way, I'm coming out with a product of my own. Do you have any advice for me?
Yeah.
And you don't ask for anything big up front. You just kind of maybe build a relationship. Most of these people are thrilled to help out customers, and you're a customer. If you spent $10 with them, you're now a customer. Yeah.
I think that's the biggest hurdle. It's just a mental hurdle more than anything else for beginner product creators. It's tough to put yourself out there. You think that people are going to troll you or you're going to get hammered with negative comments, but it's just not the case. It's never as bad that people make up in their minds.
It's just networking, plain and simple, and people in brick and mortar businesses do it every day. So there's no difference here.
Absolutely. I need to get some props. I got 0 still. Not feeling any love. All right, let's keep moving on. A couple questions here. Here's a good one, Mark. What are some sales page conversion killers? I know, every day you look at probably dozens of sales pages, right? So what are some stuff that you see that just makes you cringe, that that are killing sales pages, that the people, if they took it off, they would get better results?
What first and foremost comes to my mind is ridiculous exaggeration, like the impossible. Like we talk a lot about the make money online niche, but let's talk about weight loss. Let's talk about lose 20 pounds by drinking 3 glasses of water by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And I know that's outrageous, but there are many outrageous claims, like to the point where you're insulting a user's intelligence. That's huge. Equally, flip side of that is using language that's a little bit too, what's the word I'm looking for? Copywriter. I can't come up with a word. Is too advanced. Okay, so you're talking about SEO, and you're talking about PBNs, and you're using all this sort of information that maybe somebody that's new to the niche, even though they're interested, isn't going to understand. So we want to talk in a language that's very user friendly for most people.
Yeah, there's a difference between like a front-end product, right? Then whereas if someone's been in our funnel for 45 days and they're getting educated, and now they're looking at, $1,000 product in our funnel, right?
Absolutely. So, you want to be friendly with your language. You want to avoid these ridiculous claims. And I hate to say this, but one conversion killer a lot is simply the word learn. You want people to know that no matter what you're offering, it's sure they know they're going to learn. We just don't want to use that word. We want to discover, what's inside, take advantage of, and these sorts of things. Everybody, no matter what they're into, if they're on that sales page, they want to know that this is a somewhat easy solution. And you can clear all that up with the FAQ, because we don't want to be unclear. We don't want to, mislead anybody. But in our headlines and our sub-headlines for the skimmers, we want to make it sound as approachable as possible.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned FAQs. What's that?
Oh, sorry. Frequently asked questions, which we won't see in every type of copy, but a lot of softwares will have them. Mm-hmm. At nearly most times at the very bottom of the page. And that sort of handles a lot of objections that people may have. They're reading your copy. If they've got all the way to the bottom, they're somewhat serious or at least interested.
Right.
So that's a great place to answer any last minute objections. If it's software, like for example, the one thing is, will it work on my Mac? Is it desktop? Is it cloud-based? Are updates included? What happens if?
Yeah, is there anything else to buy?
Exactly.
Anything else needed? Absolutely. Let's see. We pull another question here from the emails. Let me see here. Here's a good one. Are proof screenshots always necessary? Because I know not always, are they available, or can you provide them? And do you think they're necessary for types of products, or does it depend on the niche that you're going into?
I think it depends a bit on the niche. I mean, in this day and age, in the make money online space, we're seeing these abused a little bit. I won't lie. We're seeing screenshots that, anything can be, I hate to say it, but anything can be faked, right?
Yeah.
That said, it's become so popular that I like to see a screenshot more of not necessarily earnings proof, but the method in action. So like I said, with the Facebook example, here's how many subscribers. Like here's a screenshot of my autoresponder where I just got, 80 subscribers in 2 days based on this method.
Yeah, something realistic that people can relate to. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like to include show screenshots, real proof of goals that are achievable. I always get turned off when I see something that's, $5,000 overnight. That's not achievable. Or we see what's become popular, and I hate it, is people selling a product, but then including a screenshot that's not even related to that because they're trying to get one over on the buyer. So I think if you approach it with integrity, like we talked about before, that full circle, you build a buyer's list that will continue to buy from you again. Once they buy the product, there's trust. There's not immediately turned off. You don't have the refund requests. You just build a better business, right? When everything matches up.
Well, that's the bottom line, and that's the social proof in action is that type of image. It's great for reading a sales page too, because it provides what we call some visual relief instead of just line after line of text. Now, when it comes to software, what's really cool, I think, and I see done a lot more, is if you have a software, what's great is to be able to show like a 3 to 4 minute demo video of the software. And then, that almost, then social proof is still nice, but not critical, because if you're saying, okay, this is how to rank YouTube videos, this is my software for ranking YouTube videos, and you can open up your cloud-based software and do an on-screen demo and in 5 minutes show, all right, this is what we did, and then we came back 24 hours and it's all time-stamped, so it's all legitimate, and in 24 hours, here's us ranking on, the 4th spot on Google.
Yeah.
When you can do that, when you've got the product that backs it up, then that's super powerful.
Absolutely. A second ago, you mentioned breaking up the visual lines, and one person wanted to know, do images play a role in sales copy? Because I've seen people that have just straight text sales copy and they do well with that, and there's other people that only do images in their text sales copy. I mean, when you look at how many images do you look for? Do images relate to the copy? Do they support it, or are they? Are you just selling palm trees and Lamborghinis?
For me, the images play a big role, but again, like you said, for me, they have to be 100% relative to the product. Okay, like a picture of a guy on a phone with cash coming through his computer. I mean, that's all well and good, but what does that really have to do with your product? Show me a picture that is showing somebody, showing some YouTube stats, some Facebook marketing stats, something along those lines, a screenshot, like this is where your testimonials come in as well, but images relevant to the product. And the reason for that too is we have to realize no matter how great our copy is, 80+% of people are just skimming our copy on first view.
Yeah.
So can your headlines and your subheadlines and your pictures alone give them enough impetus to want to go back and read in detail?
Mm-hmm. I know, especially like a lower price product, I'm just skimming it. With the higher price the product goes, the more I'm looking at it, making sure this is something that can help me out. Does price point play a factor in how you write copy, or should it even play a factor?
That's a great question. Whoever brought that one in is awesome. I think it does play a role, because when you get into, like, I can think of some products that I did recently that were much more advanced, okay, and we're talking like solid monthly investment type products.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you really drill down, you get a lot more serious with your copy. You know, you're talking to a much more specific audience. You've pre-qualified them. Anybody that's sending visitors to that page has probably pre-qualified the audience. So you got a much more targeted prospect. So you can get a little more technical in your copy. You can lose the flash. You don't have to be nearly as hypey. Definitely some excitement, but that's where you can get a little more technical. And to answer your question, yeah, you can get more into longer text descriptions and features and benefits as opposed to just trying to sell on flashy pictures and headlines.
Absolutely. All right, good. Let's go through the questions here that we got in. Is there a difference between video sales letter, VSL, or text copy? Is there certain types of products that should do a VSL, certain that should do text? Does it matter? What about a combination of both?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters on the type of product as much as it does on the presenter and the copy itself. I mean, we're seeing VSLs, video sales letters, in a vast majority of products right now. I see this goes in a cycle. Like a couple years ago, it was almost only video sales letter with no text copy, which for a lot of people is incredibly annoying. Like you just have the option of listening to a 10-minute sales video and nothing else. I like to see, these days I see a lot more of the combination where you'll have a video sales letter, but all of the text is right there as well, or all of the bullets are right there as well. I think this really works for products where the creator's fairly well known and just their own personal brand and their voice on that sales letter really goes a long way to drawing people in and sharing the excitement about the product.
Yeah, I've seen a new trend in ClickBank where, and you know, we're setting this up ourselves. So we have a video sales letter, and then the exit pop will go to the text sales letter. But on some of your bigger ClickBank vendors now, you have the option to promote either the VSL or the text sales letter. And I know people have different ways that their buyers got on their list. You know, we know creators that only do VSLs. They'll never touch a text, and it doesn't hurt their sales because their customers know that. That's their brand. So now we've seen product creators give both options for people. Have you had that request yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is I haven't had that request for like a pop just to a different type of sales letter, but I think that most commonly what I'm being asked for is a combination. Like they want the standard text sales letter, but they also want a script for a video sales letter because they know how important that is. And I think we're going to see that stick around for a while.
And what's the difference between how you write a video sales letter versus a text sales letter? Because obviously you don't have all the images, right? Most of them are just white screen with black letters.
That's it. That's it. And it's short, sweet, and to the point. You know, like a brief introduction, hammer the pain or the emotional triggers early, and then straight to benefit.
So like a summary of your text sales letter.
Absolutely. You're just summarizing benefits and, excuse me, what a lot of people miss out on in a video sales letter is still a strong call to action. You know, for those people like you just mentioned that only watch video, they're not going to read the text, then you've got to say, hey, here's what you have to do right now at the end of your, you know, right below this video, you're going to see a button where you can access this product. I want you to hit that button.
When do you want the buy button to come up? You know, I know we do. Usually after we've addressed the pain points, then we have the buy button pop up. And same thing in our text sales letter, we put multiple buy buttons, you know, at certain points, and there's a science behind where you put the buy buttons. You know, what's your preference?
Yeah, there certainly is a science, and I mean, my preference is to split test, quite honestly. But overall, if I'm doing a software or a more technical product, I don't need to see a buy button until near the very bottom. And the reason for that is I want people that are taking action to have been serious enough to have gotten through what I have to share. You know, otherwise, you know, people are jumping on and they maybe don't know what they're getting into, and then there's instant refund requests and all that. So if it's a more serious, more technical product, I want like 1 or 2 buy buttons near the bottom of the copy when they've been presented with everything they need to know. When we get into digital products, a little bit flashier, you know, you make $100 a day using CPA or this sort of method, then results do show that you've got a lot more impulse buyers, Shane, if that makes sense. So having that buy button right up top, almost above the fold, can help. and then another one after, a list of benefits, and then another couple near the bottom.
Yeah, there's the trend, especially with those make money fast products, is to have your big powerful headline and then a buy button right underneath it. But you wouldn't want to do that for some of the more serious products.
No,
Mark, what about the difference between, another question here, difference between a long and short sales page, or how do you know how long your sales page has to be? Is there any set rule, or does it depend on the product?
That's a good point. I never get hung up on that. I just want to make sure that the facts are presented, that the story's been told. Now, again, obviously, with a software, with a more technical product, we're probably just due to the information we have to present, it's going to be longer. There's nothing that's more annoying, though, is when it's longer than it has to be. And I think for a lot of people that are on the call and a lot of people that watch the recording will agree with this. Like, how many times do I need to hear the same story of how you struggled living out of your car? And that I'm like you. Yes, you can tell me a bit about you, but then we're done. And then how many bullet points, how many features does your product have? Do you need to list 50? Or can you tell me the story in 10 or 5? And do I need to hear the same thing?
You try to make that product for everybody, and it ends up being for nobody.
Well, that's it. So as long as it has to be, but this is where a good copywriter is. The hardest job of copywriting is the editing. Like, I'll write a 20-page sales letter and I'll cut it down to 8 before it gets submitted, because I'm like, I've already said that. That's been done. And that's doing everybody a service. That's doing the client a service. It's definitely doing people reading the copy a service.
Mm-hmm. Good point. We only have got a few more questions here, and then we'll cut it off. But if you have any questions, please ask them in the message box, or you can do the /Q. We're more than happy to talk about anything. If you have questions about email marketing too, or paid traffic, we don't mind getting into that stuff. But while we have Mark here, let's take advantage of his sales copy expertise. Mark, how do you think one gets better at writing sales copy? Because it is a skill, right? It's not like building a WordPress site where you can watch a video and now you know how to do it.
No, absolutely. Getting beyond basic training, like there's all sorts of books, online resources, courses that anybody can take, and I strongly suggest a fundamental before you even get started. You need to take something to just understand what it is and get into it. But after that, even if you're just dabbling, practice. Like, the more sales copy you can write, the better. And a lot of people that maybe say, well, I've never written sales copy, what do I do? One of the first things I did, and one of the things that I give advice on a lot, is if you want to get better at it, if it's, let's say, your first ever product and you don't have the budget, you want to do it yourself, go rip apart sales copy. Go online and look at sales letters, like 2 or 3 a day. And don't just look at them, but look for ways you can improve them. How could I make that headline better? And then write a better headline. How could I make those bullets and benefit points better? And then write them. The more you do that, the more comfortable you get doing it. And it's such a simple exercise. It's just time. But that's probably been my favorite exercise moving forward.
Yeah, I know a lot of you students, or a lot of people on the call are in our Udemy course on sales copy. Maybe Brian could put a link to that for those of you that aren't. But I know in our coaching program, when we teach somebody sales copy, we say go out and find 5 to 10 products that are similar and look for common elements in that copy, right?
Absolutely.
There's common elements that you'll see that lead to high conversions. There's common elements that you see that lead to low conversions. So, if no matter what your product is, you can find 5 to 10 products that are selling in your niche. If you can't, then it's probably not a product you're going to.
Yeah. Like you said, those elements, you're going to find the elements of converting sales copy in even the most basic of copywriting courses. And you should definitely start there, as I said. But then when you get into wanting to tweak it and get better at it yourself, like I said, it doesn't cost you anything to go check out a sales page and say, okay, that was cool. Here's how I think I could say it better.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple questions. Let's go one more here, Mark. Last question. Should people hire a copywriter? How do you know when you need to hire a copywriter? Are you worth the money?
Well, I mean, I won't talk for myself. I'll let my clients speak for themselves, but no, not everybody needs copywriter. I don't want to blast the industry, but quite honestly, if it's your first ever product launch and it's a $7 info product and you're just getting your feet wet, no, if you've done your homework and you've done your networking, then fine, just go for it. But what you'll notice is, and I've seen this progression because I've masterminded with a few groups where people were new product creators. And I know you've done this too, Shane, and they've gone from brand new to a year later to bigger launches. Yep. What ends up happening is as they get to the bigger stages, they're hiring copywriters because they know the difference between an 8% and a 12% conversion rate can mean dozens to hundreds of sales for them based on the traffic they're getting.
Yeah, thousands of dollars. I mean, especially if you have affiliates lined up and you know you have 5,000 clicks coming to that page. The difference in 4% is massive. You're talking hundreds of clicks, 50 sales on a $10 product with OTOs. So
it's absolutely huge. But at the same time, let's face it, I know one of your favorite marketers, I won't name names, but you talked about fairly plain sales copy, and I can think of a couple right now that do ridiculously well with every information product they release. And now they have big target lists and everything, but they're not using copywriters because it's a letter. It's just straight text top to bottom. And they're doing well just on that. So you have to ask yourself, what do you need? But as soon as you start getting into the bigger game and you're starting to look at more like 100 units plus in a launch, that's when in 9 times out of 10, the copy pays for itself just on the conversions and the increased sales.
Yeah, absolutely agree. We're going to wrap it up here. We want to keep these blabs short, and we want to keep doing them. So at any time, you can hit us up on our Facebook page. Maybe Brian, you can drop a link there. Our blog. And if you have questions or want to see topics for upcoming blabs, we're more than happy to do them. We're planning on doing this every Thursday about this time, and then we'll put the recording up on our YouTube channel where you can subscribe so you can get the updates. And then also on our blog, we'll turn them into a post. So Brian's popping a link there.
I'll stick to YouTube link in there as well. Mark, I had gotten one email with a question. I'm getting an echo. Does everyone hear an echo?
Yeah.
A little, but not too bad, Brian.
Okay. They were wondering what is a way to tell if their copy is good enough or not, because a lot of times when you write your own copy, you tend to favor it and think it's good, even if other people won't think the same way. And I know personally, I've had a lot of people ask me to look at their funnels, and they tell me they've got a great copy, and then I read it and I think, well, I don't think that's so great. But I don't know how people can really check if their copy is very good or just so.
Good question. Really good question. I mean, the brutal truth is you won't know statistically anything until you actually send traffic to it. Okay, so a lot of bigger names out there will test internally. They'll send segments of their list to their original copy. Now, let's say for the everyday person, that's not a reality. Okay, two fundamental steps that I would take is put your copy to bed once you've written it, like for 2 straight days. Don't even look at it. Okay, you might think it's the best thing in the world. Come back fresh in 2 days, no less, and look at it with fresh eyes. Okay, that alone is you'll make a lot of changes based just on that. You'll think, because when we get in the process of writing it, we get all excited about our product and we think that what we're doing is amazing, and maybe we'll want to change some things. The next thing I'll do right away is we talked about masterminding, we talked about networking, get that copy in front of 1 or 2 objective friends who are not afraid of hurting your feelings. Okay, and very often you'll get such positive feedback, like as in, this was great and this absolutely sucked, and you need to change the way you wrote that. That for the everyday person who's getting new and getting started, that's what you want to do, is you want to get that copy in the hands of some other people to look at.
Cool.
Yeah, great answer. And for everyone just jumping on, I am pasting the links to the download. And one thing that you just said, Mark, that got me thinking is the questionnaire that you sent is actually very good for people that have created a product and want to see if it's actually good enough to sell or not. Because if they can't fill out the questionnaire, then they don't have a sellable product.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go quite that far, but I understand what you're saying. I would say that if you can't fill out that questionnaire, you don't understand your product well enough to be writing your own copy. And maybe you need to dig into, or you don't understand your market well enough, or your niche well enough. And that'll point you in areas of research you need to do. Like, you can't just sell on product alone. You have to sell based on your niche and on your market. And I think, Shane, you would totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I'm sorry, I'm following people on the Twitter here.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, thanks so much for joining us on the Blab. We're going to have another one next week. We'll dive into another digital marketing topic. Again, hit us up with any questions that you have ahead of time. We'll post it on the blog and on the YouTube channel. Thanks for following us on Twitter. I just followed everybody back on the call. And we'll see you guys next week. Oh, here's one last question here. Any tips for writing scripts?
Oh, like I'm assuming for scripts, I'm assuming video sales letters, like that sort of thing, for writing a video script. Yeah, be ruthless in your edits. What I do is I always tend to start it off in a straight document format, and I tell my story because I feel I can really tell a story much more smoothly than that, and only then will I break it down into slides. And I'll just break it down into no more than 2 or 3 points per slide. We don't want to overwhelm people. But start off in a Google Doc, and then this may sound funny, but I'll time myself reading it. I'll turn on a stopwatch, like an online stopwatch, and I'll time myself, and I'll be like, okay, once I hit 3 minutes, I'm pretty much done, and that'll alone force you to be pretty ruthless in your edits.
Put it.
Same for telesales.
Yeah, and telesales too. At Dr. Lois, digital marketer is somebody that we follow. Ryan Dice over there has a lot of free training on his blog, and he has an article going over video sales scripts. And they also talk about phone sales too. So I would check out digitalmarketer.com. We're not afraid to tell you when somebody knows more than us, or can provide you an example that can help you out. So check out digitalmarketer.com. That's the template that we use for our VSLs also. All right. Getting some bad feedback now. All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, Mark. Thanks to everybody for showing up on the call. Appreciate it, Brian.
Thanks for all the questions, everyone.
All right, we'll talk later.
Thanks for joining, everyone.